Good morning. It is 9:08 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. I been spending a lot of time this morning checking out the memes. I'm not lying about it. A lot of time on the memes. I found one that was sick. I sent it to you, Gabe. I sent it to Mason too. I sent it to Joan. And then I reposted it on my Instagram account.
Was that the DM I got this morning?
That was the DM. I slid into the DMs. It's like an AI telling of the Bible, but it's in like 2 minutes.
It's
front to back
amazing.
To music. Isn't it sick?
Like, I have to go back and watch the whole thing again. I want to slow it down. You know, I want to slow it down and watch it in, frame by frame. It's cool.
It is very cool. If you want to see the memes, you can go over to my Instagram page at Chris Hand on Air. I added it to my story. It's just sick. I don't know. And the Bible stories, I don't know if you knew this, pretty badass. So, are you allowed to say that about the Bible? I did.
Well, I think you just did.
I did.
You can definitely say that the Bible's badass.
Okay.
It is.
Fair.
I am right now in Judges.
Okay.
The stories there, man, are the kind that like peel your skin back.
My Bible study, we've been going through 1 Samuel, which is also pretty based.
Yeah.
Where they set up the idol next to the covenant, and they come in the next morning and it's knocked over, and they're like, "That's weird.
Yeah.
Must have been windy in here." And then they set it back up, and then they come in the next day, and it's like, okay, it's knocked over again, and the head has been removed, and so have the hands.
Yeah.
Oh. Maybe we pissed somebody off. So, I put that on my Instagram story. I think it's pretty cool. I'm still getting to. Is anybody else tired of all the political texts? I'm so tired of these text messages. I don't know how everybody got my number. I don't want your political text messages. I can do my own research. Like, it's nonstop. I'm like constantly getting texts by people. And it does the opposite effect for me. Like, it makes me like you less, if I'm being perfectly honest. And this is where, when you donate to these guys, this is where your money goes. Incessant text messaging campaigns. It makes me not want to donate to people. Like, go do something productive with the money rather than bother me on my phone. I don't like people playing on my phone. And I feel like people are playing on my phone. Is that just me? Am I a little bit salty when it comes to the text messages? Anybody else feel like that? Especially when it's like a 615 number. It's like, oh, is this something I need to look at? Nope, it's not. And then I hit stop. I hit stop to end. That's what I do. I type in stop. And then I get a different text from a different number. Then I have to tell them to stop. And it's about the same candidate. It's like, why? I didn't opt in for any of these. This is not something I signed up for. I'm very excited for this election to be over. I think one of the main reasons why I want it to be past the primaries and past the midterms is so that way the stupid political text messages stop, and I can get some reprieve for another 2 years. Insane. Hey, there was some chaos yesterday. The House passed $1.15 trillion defense bill with Israel provision. Democrats and Republican skeptics joined forces against Section 219, while transgender provisions further split the vote. This is from Fox News. The House passed its $1.15 trillion annual defense policy bill Wednesday after a bipartisan revolt over a provision expanding U.S.-Israel defense technology cooperation. If you're paying attention to people online, they're saying that this is a merging of our militaries. This is a merging. It's essentially giving Israel the keys to the United States military. I don't know if that's exactly true, but Section 219 absolutely sets up a formal United States-Israel Defense Technology Cooperation Initiative. What does that mean? A lot of big words. Well, it's to synchronize technology development, data fusion, and procurement between the two countries' militaries, bypassing typical congressional review after passage. So there are some of the usual suspects that are out against this. Thomas Massie, Ro Khanna, They pushed amendments to strip the section. Tim Burchett voted against this. He's the NDAA yesterday. He's the only congressman to vote against it, and in Tennessee. And this is a big deal. Burchett said he didn't vote against it because of that. He said he voted against it because nobody seems to be able to pass a budget, and we're pass an audit, and we're 39 trillion, 40 trillion in debt for all intents and purposes. But the internet community is in an uproar because of the merging of the United States and the Israel military. Here's the key language from the bill, okay? The Secretary of Defense shall designate an executive agent responsible for synchronizing cooperative efforts between the United States and Israel to expand and accelerate bilateral defense technology research, development, testing, evaluation, integration, and industrial cooperation by, number one, identifying jointly developed or Israeli origin technologies with operational utility for potential integration into the United States systems and programs of record. Two, ensuring collaborative research initiatives involving government, private sector, and academic institutions in a manner that protects sensitive technology and national security interests. 3, additional coordination steps with other U.S. departments in Israel. 4, promoting joint training exercises and information sharing mechanisms to enhance operational readiness. And then there's a section on cooperative efforts where it says the synchronized cooperative efforts may be carried out through the following domains. 1, counter unmanned systems, aerial, maritime, ground. 2, anti-tunneling and subterranean threats. 3, missile and air defense technologies. 4, artificial intelligence, quantum learning, machine learning, and autonomous systems. 5, directed energy and advanced sensing. 6, cyber defense, electronic warfare, and digital resilience. 7, biotechnology, biomanufacturing, and medical defense. 8, network integration, data fusion, and contested logistics. 9, defense industrial-based cooperation, manufacturing, and co-production. 10, other emerging technologies as jointly agreed. They say the provision directs the executive agent to coordinate with the State Department, Commerce Department, and other agencies to align efforts and avoid duplication. It also includes reporting requirements to Congress. This is not a grant of command authority over the U.S. forces to Netanyahu or anyone else. It creates a formal framework for deeper tech integration and co-development. I understand why people are upset about it, but I do think a lot of people are going off the edge just a tad. I've seen posts on the internet that say, this means Netanyahu can essentially draft U.S. soldiers and send them into a conflict without Congress, without the President of the United States. And I just don't see that in the actual language. Maybe I'm wrong, and I'm always open to being wrong. I don't think I'm the smartest guy in the room. But when you look at the plain language, it looks a lot like the tech side of it. Now, you can make the argument that we shouldn't be going that far with any foreign nation. And I'd be open for the conversation. I think it's more nuanced. But I think you lose people when you go over the edge and everything in your commentary is dominated by Jews. Like, I think there's some nuanced conversation on what we should be doing, what we shouldn't be doing. How does this affect our sovereignty when it comes to cooperating this closely with a foreign nation? And I don't care if it was Israel or Ireland. I think that you should have those conversations. But it seems like a lot of the loudest voices against this are Jews. And I don't know, maybe they're right, but it just seems like that's why they're really upset. Am I wrong? Maybe I'm wrong. 615-737-9986. I do think that there's some interesting parts in this, and why we're doing it. I don't know. I'm curious about it as well. But it doesn't help the conversation when the loudest voices in the room are so anti-Israel. Like, and then the same goes for everything when it comes to the Israel topic. Like, I think there's a lot of nuanced conversations when you're $39 trillion in debt. Should we be sending foreign aid to any country, up to and including Israel? Because we're $39 trillion in debt. But the loudest voices against that are Jews. And it ruins the nuanced conversation that we should be having. If you were $400,000 in debt, credit card debt, I don't think it's a good financial decision for you to be lending money to your friends. I think that's common sense. So when we're $39 trillion in debt, Is it a good financial decision to be sending foreign aid to any of our allies? I think that's a nuanced conversation. Are we fighting these wars because they're more beneficial? It's more beneficial to Israel than to the United States. I think that's a good, nuanced conversation to have. But when the loudest voices in the room are Zog, 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 Zionist-occupied government, I think it ruins the nuanced conversation that we could have. So it sucks, but it's like, if we want to have a reasonable conversation, you need to be reasonable and objective when you're breaking this stuff down online. If it's all Jews all the time, it's never Jews. Like, if every problem in your life is because of the Jews, then I don't know what to tell you. But there was a fight yesterday. Opposition came from a coalition of progressive Democrats and Republican skeptics of U.S. support for Israel, reports Fox News, who accused congressional leaders of shielding the provision from scrutiny after lawmakers were denied a separate vote to remove it. The fight erupted as the support for Israel is weakened among House Democrats and some America First Republicans during the war in Gaza and the widening conflict with Iran. Just 1 week earlier, 103 Democrats joined Thomas Massie in voting to block $3.3 billion in U.S. aid to Israel. For opponents, Section 219 would move the relationship in the opposite direction by embedding U.S.-Israeli cooperation more deeply inside the Pentagon's weapons development and acquisition system. The provision would direct the War Secretary to designate a Pentagon executive agent to coordinate and accelerate bilateral defense research, testing, and industrial cooperation. Critics argued that the structure would make the relationship harder for future administrations or Congress to unwind and could shift parts of the partnership away from highly visible aid votes into less visible technology, procurement, and production arrangements. Supporters said it would coordinate longstanding programs and give the United States faster access to Israeli defense technology. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez urged lawmakers to reject the entire defense bill, saying this amendment is an existential threat to American sovereignty and democracy. She wrote on X prior to the vote, referencing Section 219, every member of Congress must vote no. Mike Lawler, Republican out of New York, shot back saying, good grief, you're either obtuse or intentionally lying. We are not merging our military with the IDF. As we do with many of our allies, we enter into cooperative agreements, share intelligence, develop technology, ammunitions, and conduct military exercises together. Stop stoking Jew hatred and do better. This is another thing that is tough with this whole conversation. Is she actually stoking Jew hatred? Now, I mean, again, just because you're against a partnership with Israel doesn't mean that you hate Jews. Just because you're against giving foreign aid to Israel doesn't mean you hate Jews. And just because you oppose Benjamin Netanyahu doesn't mean you hate the Jewish people. The extremes are on both sides of this conversation. And you hear a lot of voices on the right claim anyone that ever says anything slightly negative about Israel as an anti-Semite. Oh, it says here in the Bible, if you bless Israel, you will be blessed. If you curse Israel, you will be cursed. And it's like, okay, well, what if the biggest blessing we could give Israel would be, not cooperating with Benjamin Netanyahu? I don't know if that's necessarily the case. I'm just saying it's like this. The Bible is great, and I love it. Make no mistake about it. But foreign policy is foreign policy. And we're $39 trillion in debt. Massie similarly opposed the rule governing the debate and the final bill after Republican leaders denied a floor vote on his bipartisan amendment to strike the provision. We should not merge our military tech and supply chain with Israel's, Massie said on X. Beyond creating the executive agent, Section 219 would direct the Pentagon to identify jointly developed or Israeli origin technologies that could be used in U.S. weapons programs and promote joint ventures, licensing agreements, and U.S.-based production partnerships with Israeli companies. They'll call Massie an anti-Semite for that, and I think that Massie has a lot of issues. I think he gloms onto some things because it's politically expedient at the moment. But like saying we should not merge our military tech and supply chain with Israel's, I don't think is an inherently anti-Semitic statement. Maybe you disagree. Before final passage, the House adopted 2 amendments from Rep. Anna Paulina Luna, Republican out of Florida. One removed 4 uses of the words integration, while the other extended annual reports to Congress for as long as the executive agent remains in place. The original reporting requirement would have ended in 2030. Now, before we get too far down the road, it is important to point out that just because this passed the House doesn't mean that this fight is over. It is now going to go to the Senate, where they will be able to make their own amendments, and they'll have to pass those. The House version creates a dedicated Pentagon executive agent. We kind of went through all that. The Senate version of the NDAA contains a similar provision. It's reported as Section 1217. Senate Democrats already blocked cloture on their chamber's NDAA last week. Opposition cited the Iran conflict, the overall spending level, and deeper U.S.-Israel military integration provisions. Progressives and some other Democrats have publicly called for the language to be stripped or significantly scaled back. So the 7 GOP no votes in the House were expected. Libertarian, America First guys, skeptics on both the spending level, like Tim Burchett highlighted this morning in his text message to Dan Mandis, and then there's other people that are skeptical of the Israel integration language. But as it stands right now, we're going to wait and see what happens in the Senate. None of this is rubber stamped just yet. I think I did a good job of explaining that. Maybe I didn't. 615-737-9986. If you want to join the conversation, it's 924. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning, 9:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Parents of school kids in Sumner County want to know if a switch to a new online portal for school announcements led hackers to break into the school's computer system. This dad speaking to WSMV4.
Now, that's a little concerning because the fact of it is you have no idea what they got, because they could have got records from 30 years ago, or they could have got records from today, and nobody knows because nobody's saying anything.
Sumner County schools delayed the start of the school year by about a week because of the hacking. Cybersecurity experts tell Yahoo News that parents should assume that their kids' data was exposed and change their school passwords. A search warrant executed yesterday at the building that houses Metro Water Services in Nashville. News 2's Haley Wilgus tells us that the warrant was executed by the U.S. Attorney's Office.
The investigation centers on a current Metro employee who is on administrative leave. It's unclear why he's the target of a federal investigation. Metro is cooperating with the investigation. The mayor's office says the law department is not representing the employee.
Yeah, and the mayor's office has not identified that employee either. A fraternity at Texas Christian University launching a fundraising campaign. They want to help support a member who's been deported to El Salvador.
Track star and valedictorian at his high school, Luis Andrade Garcia is an accounting and business information major at TCU. When he was arrested for disorderly conduct last month, a check of his immigration status found that he had come to the country illegally when he was 3, and the deportation process began. His fraternity, Lambda Theta Phi, is appealing for Garcia's return and has raised over $15,000 to go toward his legal expenses. Jim Ryan, ABC News in Dallas-Fort Worth.
That is the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at Better Water LLC. Do you have weird smells coming off your water? Are you washing your clothes in your water? Are you getting stains after you wash them? Or you just got bad tasting water at the house or at the office? Well, if you have any of those issues, you should call Better Water today and ask them to test your water. They'll do it for free, because you could have some nasty stuff in your water. We're talking iron, sulfur, chlorine, bacteria, even E. coli. This is the water that you're making coffee with in the morning. You're bathing in it. You're bathing your kids or your grandkids in it. You don't want any of that. Now, Better Water will test your water for free. If you have any of the nasty stuff, they offer a range of options to clean it up so fast. Reverse osmosis, specialized filters, UV lights, you name it. Better Water can clean up that mess. They're a local company based out of Smyrna, and you've already probably tasted their work. They're treating the water at the coffee shops and the hospitals around town. Stop drinking the junk out of your tap. Call the best guys in Middle Tennessee to clean up your water. That's Better Water, 615-355-6063, 615-355-6063, or find them online, betterwater.com. 37 minutes past the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. You can listen to us on all the apps, the FM dial. You can watch us on YouTube and Rumble. Hit like, hit subscribe. Helps me feed the kids. Got a lot of kids to feed. It's you hit like so we can get a little protein, or it's bread and water all weekend long. Up to you. Totally up to you. I love when the text line proves me right. I don't know if you know this, but the last segment when we were talking about Section 219, I'm like, I don't know. It's like a nuanced conversation. I think that a lot of people bring up a lot of good points on both sides, and I'm open to the conversation. I think we should be adults and have conversation. But I said, but there's extreme voices on both sides, and it's like already happening. Somebody said, Jews are evil, Talmudic Jews, going off about that. You don't even know, you're blinded. It's like, oh yeah, the Talmudic Jews, 14% of the population in Israel. They're the ones running the entire world. Got it. And then the flip side of that was another person going, why don't you put on a Habib? Get your turban out. Chris is in for the Muslims. It's like, I don't know how you got either of those ideas. I'm simultaneously too pro-Jewish and too anti-Jewish. Okay. I feel like that's actually the right place to be. Maybe. That's just, you can't win with these people. Like, I just want to have adult conversations with you and bring you the information to the table. It's like, oh, you hate Jews. Jews are the worst. You don't hate them enough. It's okay. All right. Thanks for listening. We appreciate it. But this is kind of my point. Somebody else asked me, how much is Israel in debt? I thought that's a good question. I've never actually Googled that. So I did. 400 billion. Exactly. So let's get them some more foreign aid. We can't let them. That'll destroy them.
Is that in like whatever their currency is, or is that 400 billion USD?
In their currency, it's 1.37 trillion, which is it's 1.37 trillion to 1.4 trillion in NIS. I don't know how they measure their currency, but it's roughly 370 to 400 billion US dollars, depending on exchange rates. So why don't can we just send 400 billion and be done with it? Wouldn't that make the most sense?
What would that put us in a debt in total?
I'm looking at, short-term pain, long-term gain. You know what I mean?
I don't know if that's how that works.
What's a few bees among friends? I'm just like, I'm sick of giving anyone foreign aid. I'm sick of caring about any country. Like, people will be like, dude, what they're doing in Gaza is terrible. And I'm like, yeah, well, there's also like genocides happening in Africa. Like, are we also upset about that? Or are we like picking and choosing our causes? I'm worried about America first. And I think that everybody should be worried about America first. And we're almost $40 trillion. By the time midterms rolls around, we're going to be $40 trillion in debt. So I think that we got to put our oxygen mask on first here on the plane as we're careening towards the surface of the earth. Maybe that's just me. Is that an anti-Semitic statement? I don't think so, because I'm also like anybody else. We should pull money from everyone.
Is anyone saying that it's anti-Semitic to not want America to be in debt?
I think so. I think people have said that. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I don't know. Maybe it's a good thing we're doing Section 219. Maybe it's a bad thing. I'll be honest with you, it's above my pay grade. I've looked at the information, and I'm like, I get why some people are upset, but I also get why some people are like, no, this actually makes a lot of sense to do. I think it's nuanced, and I think that if you really want to get into the weeds, it's going to be like specific verbiage that people have issues with. Like, changing words, it would make a lot of people feel more comfortable. So maybe that's what they need to do. I don't know. It's totally up to you. But, people are mad about what's going on with Israel and the NDAA. And in the meantime, people are mad about what Trump is doing with the Saudis. And we just okayed a Saudi Arabia nuclear deal. which I think actually makes a lot of sense. They're an ally in the region. You could say that they have some evil tendencies. It's like, okay, name a country that doesn't. Multiple reports citing anonymous officials on Wednesday claim that the administration of President Donald Trump is in varying stages of approving a deal to share nuclear technology with Saudi Arabia, Breitbart reports. The Saudi news agency Al Arabiya reported on various of these claims in American establishment media, including a report by the Wall Street Journal that Trump had already formally approved a nuclear agreement with the country, and one by Reuters stating that the Trump administration was planning to seek congressional approval for the deal. The White House at press time has not commented on the reports, nor has the Saudi government. If it moves forward, the agreement would reportedly grant Saudi Arabia the ability to build and sustain nuclear power plants, potentially moving the country away from its dependence on fossil fuels. It would also put the country on par with its neighbor, United Arab Emirates, the UAE, home to the only active nuclear plant in the Arab world, and Iran, whose development of nuclear energy has long alarmed pretty much everyone. So the de facto leader of Saudi Arabia, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, included the development of civilian nuclear energy sources in his Vision 2030 plan to diversify the nation's economy, and officials openly stated their intention of becoming self-sufficient in nuclear energy. Reports during the first Trump term indicated that the administration was considering an agreement to share nuclear technology with Riyadh, but no formal deal materialized, in part due to sustained opposition by Israel. There it is. I'll wait for the anti-Semitic text. It's the Jews. It's always the Jews. I think nuclear energy is the smart move, if we're being honest. Like, that's the route that the world needs to move in. I mean, you can talk about the meltdowns, the Chernobyls, the 3 Mile Island, all this and that, but I think it's a lot safer now than it has been in past years, and it's time to get with the times. When you talk about what their demands are for energy in this country, windmills and solar panels aren't going to cut it. So if we really want to lower energy prices, I want the United States to get on the nuclear train. I think that makes a lot of sense. Al Arabiya reported on Wednesday, citing the American media outlets, that some reports suggest Trump administration had already formally approved the deal to help Saudi Arabia enrich uranium. The agreement was reportedly to last 30 years and involve American private industry aiding the Saudis in their development. While the Wall Street Journal report claimed that Trump had approved the deal, Reuters reported that the administration was planning to submit such an agreement to congressional approval, not that it had already been approved. The reports also did not indicate that the United States would demand Saudi Arabia not enrich its own uranium, a potentially controversial issue, as having enrichment capacity could place Saudi Arabia on track to generate its own fissile material for a nuclear weapon. Let's be honest, though. Saudi Arabia is so stinking rich that if they wanted a nuclear weapon, they could just buy a nuclear weapon, and they might already have a nuclear weapon. It's just being reasonable. They're stupid rich. The Times of Israel, citing a variety of reports in American media, noted that none mentioned the agreement requiring Saudi Arabia to normalize its relationship with Israel, a longtime Trump goal. Saudi Arabia's policy has long been to condition normalization with Israel to the creation of a state of Palestine. But the Crown Prince had previously suggested that he may be open to dropping such a requirement. In an interview in September of 2023, the Crown Prince said he had hoped for a good life for Palestinians, but did not explicitly demand a Palestinian state. Saudi Arabia reverted to firm support for the creation of Palestine following the Hamas atrocities of October 7th that year, frustrating attempts to expand Trump's Abraham Accords normalization agreements to the home of the world's holiest Islamic cities. Trump was talking about the Abraham Accords yesterday. Where was he? He was at a rally in Pennsylvania. I think that's where he was talking about the Abraham Accords, or maybe it was the day before when he was in the Oval Office. He was talking about adding another country to the Abraham Accords. Hold on, let me find that clip. This has been a topic that has been discussed more recently. Nope, that's the same thing. I'm looking for it. He was just talking about this. Hang on one sec. I think it was in the Oval Office yesterday. Yep. He floated Lebanon. Not
the country is Lebanon,
Thank
I think, and then the city or the town in Tennessee is Lebanon, right?
Yeah. The town in Tennessee is not going to be joining the Abraham Accords.
Dude, that's so unfortunate.
Many people are very disappointed. This was the president in the Oval Office just a couple days ago.
And the Abraham Accords, Lebanon still enforces a 1955 law criminalizing contact with Israel for over 70 years. You previously stated you would push Lebanon on this issue. And there is some people still going to prison last month. So did you raise it you will raise it with President Trump today?
The Abraham Accords have been, I think, a tremendous success. I think you're going to see a lot of countries joining pretty soon. As you know, we have our original group, and it's so successful for them. Economically successful. It's been nobody left, even during this time of conflict. So, no, I think Lebanon has a very important place.
We'll see what happens with that. I do know the time of conflict doesn't seem to be slowing down at all. Just yesterday, the blockade business got a little bit more crowded, as the Houthis targeted 2 Saudi oil tankers in the Red Sea, on top of Iran targeting the Strait of Hormuz. President Trump had also mentioned this in the Oval Office just a couple days ago. He's saying, like, I don't know if they'll actually do it. The Houthis kind of know better. Well, we found out that that's not exactly the move now. The Houthis are doing what the Houthis do.
Backed Houthi terrorists from Yemen say they have targeted Saudi oil tankers that violated their naval blockade. Chief International Correspondent Steve Harrigan is in Tel Aviv tonight with the latest on that. Good evening, Steve.
Good evening, Brett. This war is certainly changing by the hour, and this is a most significant development, also confirmed by maritime security experts, that the Houthis have targeted and hit at least 1 tanker, perhaps 2, that were carrying Saudi oil in the Red Sea. This basically broadens the war. It creates a second front and really puts the risk of chaos in the world oil market at a much higher level. It happened just a short time ago. The Houthis had threatened to target and blockade Saudi oil. Even that threat alone was enough to make several tankers turn around, make U-turns, head north out of a longer and more expensive route out of the Suez Canal. Now that they have struck and disabled at least 1 tanker, possibly 2, that's really going to change things. Saudi Arabia had been trying to move millions of barrels of oil out of the Red Sea, trying to flee from the chaos in the Strait of Hormuz. Now that route, at least in the short term, may be closed. If you think about it, 10% of the world's oil threatened out of the Strait of Hormuz, another 7% possibly if this can hold up in the Red Sea. So certainly a big development there. And
yeah, I mean, it's something to keep your eyes on, especially as oil prices continue to rise. Gas prices here at home continue to rise. The support for the conflict in the Middle East continues to plummet. Listen, I think we have enough prosperity nukes to go around for everyone. And I would be willing to spread and share that prosperity. I want to get out of this conflict as quickly as humanly possible. President Trump still is pretty adamant that he doesn't think that this is going to have a lot of impact when it comes to the midterms. Maybe he's right. Maybe he's wrong. I think there's a lot of black-pilled Americans that voted for President Trump in the last election that are pretty upset with the current state of this administration. Like, that's just being honest. And I see the conversation. People don't feel like they're getting what they voted for as prices continue to rise at home, and President Trump doesn't think it's going to harm him in the midterms.
They won't have any impact on me. I'm just going to do the right thing. I don't view it as, gee, we're having an election in a period of time. You know, everyone says, oh, I'm doing something before. No, the election, I can't think about that having to do with this. I think people are very impressed. I mean, we took over Venezuela. We now have a great relationship with Venezuela. We went to war with Venezuela, and the war ended in 1 day. And we have now an incredible relationship with Venezuela. We're taking out millions of barrels of oil. They're making more money now than they ever made before, ever. And we're making a lot of money. We paid for the war many times over with Venezuela. We lost nobody. We lost nobody. We didn't lose one. And it was a violent attack. As you know, we took out a man who was a very evil man. What he did was very evil, in many different ways. We took him out. But, you know, Venezuela, they said the same thing. When I did Venezuela, everyone said, because look at the drugs. Look at what they did, where they took all of their prisons.
So that was the president yesterday. He's not letting this impact his strategy in Iran. The election's upcoming, which is, I think, the right move. But to say that it's not going to have any impact, I think that is I don't know, is the word naive? Maybe that's the wrong word. But I think it's absolutely going to have a little bit of impact. Well, I mean, we'll all find out together, right? One way or the other. We'll talk a little bit more about the midterms on the way. But in the next hour at 10:05, Jeremy Thompson is here. He is running for Congress in Tennessee's 9th District. We're going to learn a little bit more about Jeremy. Early voting is going on now. The primary is August 6th. Also, don't forget, as you've got your early voting done or you're looking forward to that primary on August 6th, we are going to be having a pretty big election party on August 6th at Hop Springs in Murfreesboro. We're going back to the borough, baby. I love it when the ride isn't that long for me. I'm secretly the most excited. But Matt's going to be doing his whole show out there live on August 6th, starting at 3 o'clock. Then myself, Mandis, and Benson, we're going to be joining at about 5-ish. And we want to see you out there. Totally free to go. You can learn more about that event at 997WTN.com. It's 9:53. This is Super Talk. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. And I always call these guys and I say, what deals do you want me to talk about? You want me to talk about the ACs? You want me to talk about the air duct cleaning? You want me to talk about the plumbing? And they usually have some great specials going on. They have some great specials going on right now, but they said, don't worry about that. We have something much more important for you to talk about. We have a back-to-school drive happening. And we need some school supplies. We need some people in the Middle Tennessee, the most generous people in Middle Tennessee. They're always right down here in Middle Tennessee to fill that gap. So if you could help, that would be greatly appreciated. Notebooks, pencils, backpacks, crayons and colored pencils, glue sticks, not just for sniffing anymore. The kids need them. We need calculators, hand sanitizers, tissue, all that stuff. And you can drop it off at the Busy Bee headquarters, 137 Southside Park Drive in Lebanon, Tennessee, 137 Southside Park Drive in Lebanon, Tennessee. If you bring some school supplies for the guys at Busy Bee to give to some kids that need it in the area, you'll get a $50 off coupon for any service that Busy Bee will provide to you. $50 off for donating some school supplies. You can bring them to 137 Southside Park Drive now through the first weekend in August. BusyBeeHVAC.com.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis from Super Talk 99.7 WTN and Nashville's Morning News. I'm here with Chris from USS, United Structural Systems. He's checking out my basement, my foundation, my crawl space to see if there's anything wrong. Fingers crossed. All right, so there's good news and there's bad news. The bad news is we found some cracks in my basement wall. The good news, I've got Chris here who's going to walk me through the next steps.
Yes, so unfortunately, your house has been subject to the pressure of the dirt. The hydrostatic pressure, heavy dirt pushes on foundation walls, and you've got a little bit of what we call bowing. So that wall is pushed in a little bit. We have a lifetime warranty solution for that. So we install, usually in a day or two, this can be done in most situations. We install carbon fiber straps, which keep the wall from moving inward at any point in the future. It's a lifetime warranty for anybody that ever owns this house. So it's a quick and routine thing that we do, but it yields some long-lasting benefits.
It's a great selling point if you want to sell your house.
Absolutely. Good thing about our warranties is they're not only transferable, like the contract says, they're automatically transferred when you sell your house. So you don't have to sign any paperwork or even send us an email saying that you sold your house. Warranty would transfer to the next owner.
Coming up, why a Rutherford County commissioner has surrendered to police. It's coming up here at 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Joan Jones in the newsroom. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. On the way after the newscast, we have Jeremy Thompson in studio. He is running for Congress in Tennessee's 9th District. And I got some questions people be asking. We're going to be talking about flock cameras. We're going to talk about medical marijuana and more. Hang out with us. Should be a good conversation. I haven't met Jeremy yet, but they were willing to come in, and I said, no softballs. They said, okay, cool. I like that. I like that vibe. I like that energy. We'll talk to Jeremy on the way. Any questions that you have, if you're in the 9th District in Tennessee, feel free to call in. We'll put you on the air with Jeremy, and we'll let you ask the question directly. Early voting is going on now through August 1st. August 6th is the primary, so it's picking time, as Matt Murphy's been saying. So we're going to try and have as many of these candidates on as humanly possible now until the primary day on the 6th, because I think more information is a good thing. We'll talk to Jeremy Thompson next. It's 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning, 10 o'clock. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. A current Rutherford County commissioner has surrendered to police over a sign theft incident. Rommel McMurray is accused of stealing the campaign sign of his opponent, Pat Clements, who had placed an Apple AirTag inside one of the signs. That AirTag finder on Clements' phone pointed to McMurray's garage. McMurray, however, denies that he stole it. News 2's Audrey Mayer spoke with McMurray.
Your opponent did, put a video on Facebook showing, the green arrow, of his AirTag pointing to your house. How do you explain that?
Everybody is trying to figure out how that's explained. And to be quite honest, the officer that came out did not witness an AirTag, did not hear an AirTag, because it says it. And we just don't know.
In the interview, McMurray also said that he relocated the sign and accused Clements of stealing his signs.
And so I was like, I guess he took mine up. I just picked his up and I took it on down the street.
Now, under state law, campaign signs are legally considered personal property, meaning that removing, destroying, or altering them without authorization does constitute a criminal offense. In Putnam County, a traffic stop has ended with 4 adults being taken into custody and a 5-year-old girl caught in the middle of an impromptu drug bust. News 2's Andy Cordan.
She's sitting amongst people who have serious drug felonies as well as possession of fentanyl and meth.
I live in Lebanon.
Which one's your daughter?
The little one.
The one that's not properly restrained. And the seatbelt? None of you guys wearing seatbelts?
Deputies suspect drug use in the car.
Check.
This canine confirms it. The car is searched and drugs are found.
Now, the little girl's mother was the driver of the car. She's also a suspect in a larger drug case involving the TBI. That little girl is now staying with another family member. Former CIA Director James Woolsey has died. Woolsey served briefly in an embattled tenure under President Clinton. His wife told the New York Times that her husband had suffered from Havana syndrome, a mysterious condition reported by U.S. diplomats and other personnel after visiting Cuba in 2016, and that he suffered a devastating stroke. Woolsey had become a steadfast conservative and was a senior advisor on President Trump's first campaign. James Woolsey was 84. That's the latest news. We've got your weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
10:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners. You get those at betterwater.com. You can listen to the show on all the apps, the FM dial. You can watch us as well on YouTube and Rumble. We have a guy running for Congress in here. And these are the times that you definitely want to watch on YouTube, because body language tells a whole story. So I appreciate you being in here. We got Jeremy Thompson running for Tennessee's 9th Congressional District. Welcome, Jeremy. First time meeting you. I'm happy you're here.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us on the show. We're excited about getting the name out and getting our message out to Tennesseans that are going to be voting in the 9th.
So why do you want to run for Congress?
Because I love this country enough to die for it, and I hope I've demonstrated that over the course of my life. And I want Tennesseans to know that. Sorry. I want Tennesseans to know that. I want the people of the 9th District from here all the way around to Memphis to know that they have a person on this ticket that cares enough about this country to go do what's right and have those hard conversations in Congress with no ambitions other than to be of service.
Well, I'm looking at your background, and that's I love why you're running. I'm looking at your background. It's pretty impressive. Retired Army Sergeant First Class. You supported Green Beret operations in Afghanistan as an all-source intelligence analyst, longtime reserve deputy and SWAT operator, volunteer firefighter, and EMT. You're now the executive director of Special Operations Association of America, and you're running a restaurant in downtown, which I think that might be the heaviest lift for you. I've known some people that have run restaurants. That is not an easy business.
I will tell you that when we endeavored that, people told us we were in a 90% failure category right out the gate, and I think we're in the top 1% of success because of my wife, Lindsay. She runs it. And if there's any success associated with it, I'm going to have to give her the credit.
Tell me about your background in the Army, and you got any cool stories?
We could probably sit here till the morning comes up tomorrow, but I enlisted in the Alabama National Guard's 1st Battalion, 20th Special Forces Group, all while serving in law enforcement, fire, EMS, rescue capacity in my hometown of Lincoln County, Fayetteville, Tennessee. When I enlisted, I had no idea that in that same year, 2001, that the World Trade Centers, the Pentagon, and other targets would be attacked on September the 11th. September the 11th, I was in the U.S. Army Intelligence Training Center going through the All-Source Intelligence Analysis course, and I was already pre-assigned to the 1st Battalion, 20th Special Forces Group. So when those attacks took place, 5th Group out of Fort Campbell was immediately mobilized to be first in with the Mujahideen or the Northern Alliance. And as you may know, they've written movies about it now, where several of those Green Berets had to operate by horseback in north central Afghanistan. The terrain there is horrific. It's treacherous. So we were a backfill unit to that 5th Group element in 2002, and we carried that mission to 2003. And I was supposed to be in a battalion S2 intelligence section for the duration of that deployment, but my battalion commander recognized, I guess, ambition, motivation. I took my job seriously. I wanted the best for the unit. I wanted the best for the mission, and he selected me to go out and be attached to a Green Beret A team for ground combat operations. And while it was rough and we experienced some really horrific things, I'm grateful for that opportunity and experience.
And that experience, I mean, it paints a picture. It shows that you're a guy that has experienced some high-stress situations. You've been able to work under pressure. How does that translate into holding an elected office? You've never held an elected office. You're in a primary with 2 sitting state legislatures. Right. Brent Taylor has a ton of endorsements.
Yep.
How are you combating that?
It's easy to get endorsements when you've been in the political spectrum for over 30 years and you've been running time after time for office at the state level and federal level. I've not done that. What I've done is observed our government at the federal level. I've probably got more experience in D.C. in the House and Senate than anybody else on this ticket, because I've been a special operations national security advocate as a third party to the House and Senate, and sometimes the executive, on what's going on around the world. We've done advisory and put people on the ground in the Indo-Pacific, in South America, and the Middle East. And as the executive director of the Special Operations Association of America, that is one of many legs and efforts that we have in forward motion.
So you're no stranger to the government. You just haven't held office.
Just haven't held office. I mean, we help shape the National Defense Authorization Act every year. We participate in write-ups, amendments. I see how these offices operate. I think I see how they fail. And that's what I told Lindsey back in 2016, 17. I saw the weaponization of government institutions, law enforcement, the DOJ, the upper intelligence apparatus. I was exposed to those things. And I told her, I said, one of these days I may want to run for Congress and see if I can do something to correct that. Because nobody right now that I can see is holding government accountable.
So you've helped on former NDAAs?
Yes.
So, given the news of the day and the NDAA,
right?
Tim Burchett had texted into our morning host Dan Mandis and said that he voted against it, and he said it was purely financial.
Yep.
We have Ogles voting for it,
Mm-hmm.
and then everybody else voted for it. Burchett was the only one that voted against it.
Yep.
How would you vote for the that last installment in the House of the NDAA, and what specifically are your thoughts on Section 219? Because you have the military experience in the merging of, as some people on the internet are putting it, merging of militaries with Israel.
Yeah.
I think that's a little bit too broad.
Yeah.
But give me your breakdown as you've been paying attention to it.
Yeah, so this is how I understand this, and it's important for everybody to know what the NDAA is. That's the National Defense Authorization Act that funds national defense, the United States military, upper intelligence apparatus, all the things that keep us safe from our foreign adversaries. So year after year, this has been a bipartisan effort. But let me tell you what it's turned into. Just like several other omnibus bills in the healthcare sector and other big money market sectors. It's become a vehicle, unfortunately, to where the Republicans and Democrats can put all their nastiness into the bill that used to be bipartisan. Now we're seeing margin after margin get narrower and narrower time after time, year after year, because it's so contaminated with all this BS that doesn't belong in it. So you have conservative Republicans looking at things like gun control, transgenderism, the whole LGBTQ conversation within the United States military and how it becomes a distraction from the mission. I've always said if we're not staffing, equipping, and training the United States military to be the most formidable fighting force on the planet, we're missing our goals and we're missing our mission. If we're distracted by other things, then we're not making our mission. And I think that's something that Pete Hegseth, Donald Trump, and Marco Rubio have identified, and they're course correcting right now. And it's offending a lot of people because we like to get our feelings hurt now. Well, the military and national defense doesn't care about hurt feelings, but as it pertains to the NDAA, and back to your question, this relationship that we have with Israel has the right to defend themselves as a nation and as a state. They're internationally recognized where Palestine is not. That's an important distinction that I think people need to understand. So if you're caught up in these conspiracy theories and conspiracy conversations that are going on talk radio and podcasts around the United States, I would ask people to dial that back a little bit and understand the long-standing relationship with Israel and how important they are to United States interests in the Middle East. Now, I do believe there's room for regulatory precedents and getting out in front of making sure that we don't overcommit ourselves to any entity or ally. But I'm certainly a proponent of holding allies and enemies accountable. And we have enemies. We have to identify our enemies. We have to make sure they are destroyed.
A lot of times it seems like it's extremes on both sides.
Yes.
Where if you're trying to have a nuanced conversation, you're either bought and paid for by the Jews or you're a Muslim sympathizer. Where would you fall in that? Are you bought and paid for by the Jews, or are you a Muslim sympathizer?
I would say neither. I would say I'm my own person, but I will also tell you that in October of 2023, when Hamas attacked Israel, and it was a horrific attack, it was a very terroristic attack, and these have been back and forth over the years with seemingly no end in sight. I went to Israel as part of the Special Operations Association of America to make sure that Americans were not put in a bad spot. If there were Americans in Israel that did not want to be in a war-torn country, myself and other members of the Special Operations community went over there in a nonprofit capacity, other government agency capacity, to start getting Americans out of Israel. I ended up on a Fox News segment because I was in Tel Aviv and I was one of the few that could take an interview. But we were very ground active in getting Americans out of that situation that didn't want to be there. What I experienced, though, while I was there is that the Israelis were very good to me. I mean, they're walking around with rifles. They're a very well armed society. You had women dressed in blouses and jeans and high heels carrying M4 SOP mod rifles into jewelry stores and boutiques. That was a different experience for me, but I didn't have a bad experience in Israel as it pertains to Israelis. And there's a difference in Orthodox Jews and non-Orthodox Jews. It's a very philosophical and in-depth conversation. It's certainly not a shallow conversation.
With your intelligence background, how did you feel about the intelligence assessments leading up to October 7th? Because there were some people that said that Egypt had tried to give Israel a heads up there. Others saying that wasn't the case. Was it an intelligence failure? How did October 7th happen in your estimation?
Yeah, so intelligence communities are a frequency of success and failure, and there's this idea and language even in the United States Army or United States military as a whole that the intelligence community is an oxymoron because they're based on best guess a lot of times. You collect a lot of information, and then you process it toward a project or a mission, and you give the commander the best possible scenario. That way he can conduct his own risk assessment and determine what the best application of forces will be. And that comes with force protection measures too. We're not always on the offense. A lot of times we're on the defense. This would have been a defensive posture for Israel. But I think there was buzz, just like other major events that have happened in history. And we can conspiracy theorize it to death. But we could say that we knew too much about 9/11, 2001 and didn't get out in front of it.
Fair.
We could say we didn't know enough about, or we knew enough about Pearl Harbor but didn't get out in front of it. And the conspiracy theorists will carry that conversation into next year. But I think at the ground level and what I've experienced over 22 years is that we do the best we can with the information that we can, and that we're truly committed to the safety and security of our people. And we don't want to see our people killed or mass murdered in some terrorist attack.
Yeah, no, it's awful. We're talking with Jeremy Thompson. He's running for Tennessee's 9th Congressional District. We were talking about the NDAA, and we kind of went off on a rabbit trail, which I love. But back to the NDAA. Section 219 explicitly says the Secretary of Defense shall designate an executive agent responsible for synchronizing cooperation efforts between the United States and Israel to expand and accelerate bilateral defense technology, research, development, testing, evaluation, integration, and industrial cooperation. And there's a list of ways that they're doing it. Have you read the direct language in the Section 219?
I have.
Give me your assessment, given your background in the military and special operations.
So we're constantly assessing emerging threats. Our emerging threats in the Middle East right now are probably our top or tier one attention or our tier one position on national security. So I think what the Secretary of War has done is said we're no longer going to be in a defensive posture. We're not going to be in a reactive posture. We're going to be in a proactive offensive posture until enemies of the United States understand that we are the most powerful fighting force on the planet. We reestablish ourselves as a superpower, and we carry ourselves forward with a peace through strength philosophy. And I think that's what they're doing in merging with Israel. This is not new, and people don't need to be incredibly alarmed by this. This is a formal process in the NDAA, and it's tied to funding national defense. That's what this is. We have had a long-standing, close working relationship with Israel to make sure that we maintain Israel as the key ally in the Middle East should things fall apart in the countries that surround it.
Jeremy Thompson is running for the 9th Congressional District in Tennessee. When you're looking at this, have we done this with other countries before?
Yeah, we've merged. We've done MOUs and things like that. I don't know that we've specifically put language in the NDAA. That may be a new posture, but certainly we've entered MOUs with other countries, and we have standing MOUs with other countries. Now, when we went into southern Uzbekistan, which is old southern Russia,
right?
We weren't supposed to be there. We had to create this really emergent and highly classified MOU with the country of Uzbekistan. That came with a big price tag. And that's what put us in Karshi-Khanabad, Uzbekistan, Task Force Dagger, and allowed us to start putting strategic troops into North Afghanistan.
How do you feel about the current conflict with Iran? Are we doing a good job? Is it messier than it should be? I mean, the president originally said 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Seems like we've gone a little bit longer than that. What's your take, given your background?
So again, assessments and projections are based on what you think best possible or worst possible outcome will be. I tend to assess everything on worst possible outcome. That way, people aren't surprised.
Right.
I will tell you, if you look at the history of Israel and Gaza, or Israel and the West Bank, Israel and Lebanon, Israel has tried many, many times to do a no-nonsense ceasefire. If you won't shoot at us, we will not shoot at you. And as soon as the agreement is made by the leadership that is in place, some proxy somewhere in Lebanon or in Gaza gets their feelings hurt or gets angry or gets emotional and goes and fires a rocket toward Tel Aviv. Well, when you live in that culture and society, there's no good way to put an assessment on an agreement between two world leaders. We can facilitate agreements all day long, and their government can say, no, we're not going to shoot at you. We hope you won't drop bombs on us. And that's kind of where I think this administration has been on a handful of times, which keeps resetting the Article 2 authorization of military operations, not war power authority, but military operational power that lies with the president. And at some point, though, we're going to have to clean it up, get a targeted outcome. Nobody wants to be there for an extended period of time. Certainly, I don't believe in war if it's not incredibly justified. I do believe it's justified in that we're holding them accountable for 47 years worth of being the number one state sponsor of terrorism around the world and killing hundreds of thousands of Americans without any kind of consequence or response.
Do you worry about the ripple effect that this might have for Republicans in the midterms as oil prices go high, gas prices go high? Do you think that there might be a negative impact because of it?
Well, I think we're already seeing a negative impact because of it. When you have logistics shut down in the Strait of Hormuz, that drives prices up or down, and that's part of this ongoing third dimensional algebraic equation of a negotiation between the United States and what's going on in Iran. But I'm a little worried about it. But I tell people all the time, sometimes there's a temporary discomfort for a long-term outcome or a long-term result. And I'm hoping, just like everybody else, that this negotiation produces a long-term positive result, not only for the United States, but for everybody in the Middle East.
Do you have some time to hang out with us?
Sure.
Because I'd love to spend some more time with you. We're talking with Jeremy Thompson. He's running for the 9th Congressional District here in Tennessee. We kind of went off on the foreign policy. I'd really like to hammer down on domestic policy as well.
Yeah.
So Jeremy's going to hang out with us. We'll take some of your questions as well. Text them in, call in, and we'll get you on with Jeremy. And in the meantime, I do have to tell you about my friends at the Glock Store. The Glock Store has got a big event coming up. It's the O-Site Day event. They were going to have a VIP event on Friday, and you could have bought tickets. We told you that you needed to buy them soon, or it was going to sell out. Well, spoiler alert, we were telling you the truth. That event sold out, but don't be bummed, because O-Site Day is still happening on August 8th. It is free to the public, and it's going on all day long. This free event will have hands-on range time, great O-Site giveaways, exclusive in-store discounts, free O-Site swag, food trucks, and much, much more. Now, the O-Site Fun starts at 9 a.m. and goes until 6, so make sure you save the date. That's O-Site Saturday, August 8th at the one, the only Glock Store. Minutes from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere, and always open online, glockstore.com.
Why the state just revoked a local nurse's license to practice. That's coming up here at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Joan Jones in the newsroom. My name is Chris Hand. It's 10:27 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. We got a guest in the house. We have to be polite when we have guests over. We have company over. So Jeremy Thompson is here. He's running for the 9th Congressional District in Tennessee. You actually have an event coming up on Sunday. If you guys want to get to know Jeremy a little bit more, this will be a good opportunity for you in Franklin, correct?
Yes, Franklin at the we're calling it the Patriot Briefing with Nick Freitas, who's one of the most conservative talking voices out there right now. And we'll be having that at the Franklin Marriott Cool Springs from 4 to 6. And tickets are available on the website at jeremythompson.com or Jeremy Thompson for Congress on Facebook.
How has we're going to get into the domestic issues and more after the newscast with Joan Jones, but how has the campaign been going? You are completely grassroots. Is that making it tougher or is that making it easier? What does that look like? I mean, I know it makes it different, but it's got to come with strengths and it's got to come with weaknesses, right?
Well, you know, I tell people all the time, I wish I could tell you we've had a negative encounter and we just haven't. We've been working all 15 counties since day one, nonstop, working 12 and 14-hour days, trying to build this movement, trying to get people behind this effort, because people like Jeremy Thompson are not supposed to run for United States Congress. We're supposed to be smothered out by those who are already selected for these opportunities or already funded for these opportunities. Jeremy Thompson and his family are not millionaires. We're everyday people that pay everyday bills just like everybody else. We understand and we feel the pain with the rest of the population. So, like I said, for years I said, would somebody like me ever even be viable or considered for a congressional opportunity? And here we are. And we've got people by the thousands that have joined this campaign, joined this effort. We get positive feedback every day, all the way from Memphis to Lincoln and Williamson to Lincoln. And we're excited about it. We're in forward motion. We think we've got a lot of positive momentum and a lot of positive feedback. We've talked to sheriffs, police chiefs, firemen, fire chiefs, city leaders, city mayors, county leaders, county mayors, industry leaders, just people walking down the street. And they're looking for something different. People in Tennessee want something other than politics as usual. And I'm not politics as usual. I'm about accountability.
Have the redrawn maps created any interesting challenges for you?
Just mobility, but I tell everybody, you know, Lindsay and I live in Lincoln County, Fayetteville, Tennessee. We've lived our entire life there, with the exception of my military time away. And if we get on 64 and go west, we can hit every county in our district on Highway 64 all the way to Memphis. If we get on 65 north, we can hit every jurisdiction and county in our district all the way up to Williamson County and Smyrna.
We're talking with Jeremy Thompson. He is running for the 9th District congressional seat in Tennessee. Retired Army Sergeant First Class, supported Green Beret operations in Afghanistan as an all-source intelligence analyst. But you also had a longtime reserve deputy and SWAT operator. You were a volunteer firefighter and an EMT. I have some very, very good questions on flock cameras and what it looks like with the mass surveillance state coupled with AI. And given your law enforcement background, I definitely want to get your input on that. We'll do that after the news with Joan Jones. It's 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Yeah.
I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. A Williamson County nurse has just had his nursing license revoked after getting busted for sexting his patients in 2025. Now, one of those patients obtained a temporary order of protection. Johnny Maffia at Fox 17 has that story.
Rex Edwards Sparks took care of 3 patients, then sent, quote, lewd and sexually explicit texts to them and offered controlled substances to one patient in exchange for nude photos.
Now, the Tennessean is reporting Sparks admitted to a state health department investigator that he would send those messages after nights of heavy drinking. Rutherford County commissioners have approved the use of eminent domain for a South Church Street property where they want to build a new justice complex to house several facilities.
A jail, sheriff's office, and emergency management center, along with other public safety facilities. The current jail, they say, is simply out of room.
We have a cafeteria, a laundry service, and other ancillary services that were designed for a jail for 400 inmates. And we regularly have 1,050, almost 1,100 inmates. over there.
County leaders say building here would allow public safety operations to work together and save money over the long term.
That's Madeline Nolan at Fox 17. Now, that property owner says the $14 million offer severely undervalues the property. No matter, with last night's vote, the county can begin condemnation proceedings right away. Republicans in the House getting through a budget measure despite some holdouts in the GOP, including Tennessee's Tim Burchett. The final vote was 216 to 214.
On Capitol Hill, the House narrowly adopted a $95 billion budget blueprint, $73 billion of it for the war. As the Pentagon warns it's running out of money, the measure now heads to the Senate, where a vote could wait till fall.
That's ABC's Karen Waugh. That is the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
The guaranteed offer is the simplest, least stressful way to sell your home. You go to our website, you fill out a quick form, we set an appointment, we bring you an all-cash offer. Literally, there's no lockbox on the front of your house, there's no showings, we pay all cash, we close in as little as 21 days, stress-free. We've helped thousands of homeowners just like you sell your home the hassle-free way with a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate.
Hey, this is Pastor Al, and join us on Super Talk 99.7, Sunday evenings from 7 to 8. We're going to look at the news from a biblical perspective.
37 minutes past the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand, in studio with Jeremy Thompson, who is running for Tennessee's 9th Congressional District. Really excited to have you in the studio.
Thank you.
Appreciate you taking some time off the campaign trail. We were talking off air. The 9th District is all sorts of wild now, but it creates some interesting challenges. But I had asked the question off the air, and I think it's interesting to bring on the air. As you've been campaigning, what's the biggest difference that you've noticed between age groups of voters? Because it does seem like there is a divide in the conservative movement right now with millennials, Gen Z, and Gen X and Boomer voters.
It appears to us that if you're under 35 years of age but eligible to vote, which means over 18, right? You're not as interested in the political theater, the political culture, and you're not going out to vote. You're not casting your vote. In a lot of cases, people don't even know what they're voting for, and it's a very sad state of affairs when we're sub 30% across the district in voter turnout. That's something that we're very concerned about. We're trying to motivate people to get interested in politics, because if you're disinterested, it's probably because you're disgusted with what's going on in your country. You're disgusted with what's going on in D.C. All you see is back and forth, fighting back and forth. You see that at the ground level in this actual campaign. You see members of this campaign or candidates of this campaign going at each other, and you just don't want involved in that because it's not affecting anything. It's not doing anything good. So what I would say is it's our civic responsibility to get back involved in our political processes immediately. I mean, that's our Constitution. That's what's protected it. That's how it was established. And you have not only the right, but almost a civil obligation and responsibility to get out and vote. But what we see is 35 to 55 seem to care more and get out and actually cast a vote. But even then, I'm told that they vote name recognition. They don't vote the issues. So if you see a series of Jeremy Thompson signs on the way to the voter polls, you're more likely to vote for Jeremy. Or if you see Jeremy Thompson's text message on your phone on the way, you're more likely to vote for Jeremy. I want you to vote for Jeremy Thompson, but I want you to vote for Jeremy Thompson because I'm the right guy for the job.
Jeremy's running for the 9th Congressional District. I like your background. Army Sergeant First Class, supported Green Beret operations in Afghanistan as an all-source intelligence analyst. But here's the part that I think is interesting. Longtime reserve deputy and SWAT operator.
Yes, sir.
So you have a law enforcement background domestically. It's not just foreign entanglements. You've done law enforcement here on U.S. soil. So I want to talk about the flock cameras.
Okay.
So spending years as a reserve deputy sheriff, including SWAT and sniper work, you see these flock safety cameras, popping up. You see the automated license plate readers. They're spreading across Tennessee like wildfire, and they're feeding data into larger networks. So from a constitutional and then a practical law enforcement standpoint, do you support or do you oppose their expansion?
I would oppose expansion. I think we need to get out in front of flock cameras immediately. I think it's a direct violation of the Fourth Amendment. The people of the United States have the right to move freely without the interference of government on any level, local, state, or federal, unless they are involved with or suspected of committing a crime. That has to be the remaining criteria. That has to be what we hold ourselves accountable to in accordance to the United States Constitution.
What specific federal action could you take on this warrantless tracking, the data retention, and the federal access to that information?
Well, I think number one, I'll tell you that I'm about less government versus more government. But if government's got to get involved in this, I'd say that we have to challenge the courts to be incredibly explicit in the language that they create on whether or not flock cameras violate the Fourth Amendment of the United States Constitution. And if they determine that it does, then we have to start dialing back the implementation and use of these flock cameras. Now, I will tell you, flock cameras can be useful for law enforcement that use them appropriately. The fear is that what if at some point in the development of this nation that the wrong people get in leadership and we get a tyrannical government and they start using these cameras against the people that aren't involved in or suspected of a crime. I think that's the overreach that everybody's a little bit fearful of.
I think that's a right-wing conspiracy theory. No federal government agency would ever declare parents domestic terrorists for showing up at school board meetings or anything like that.
I think we experienced that in the last 4 years of the previous administration, but you can correct me if you think I'm wrong.
No, I'm obviously messing with you. So how do you write that legislation? because flock cameras are the big thing right now, but that's the name brand. As you're seeing the flock camera backlash, there's other companies popping up, and there's about 4 or 5 other ones. Axon is another company that's rolling out the new replacements. Do you have to be more broad? Is it cameras plus AI that is the issue? What's the line? How would you write it?
So I don't want to pretend to be the expert on flock cameras or how to regulate them or manage them, but this is what I will say. If you're going to draw up legislation, it has to be a comprehensive language. It has to the language would have to be comprehensive to include all applications of video, audio, or other surveillance, and that's the only way that you'd effectively terminate it using legislation.
I mean, because the flock cameras are crazy. Like, they even log the Bluetooth on your phone. So if
they know when you're walking.
Yeah, if you're walking your dog, they know that you're walking your dog.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what they can build out on you is absolutely terrifying.
Nobody wants to live in a surveillance state. You know, I think I mentioned this the other day. We watched movies in the early 80s, these futuristic technology movies where they could read your retina.
Like Minority Report.
And they know your
like
entire biological demographic, your entire background, all the way back to the beginning of our country or whatever the case may be. That's an insane way forward. I don't think it's healthy for our country, just to be honest with you.
And it does seem like it's going that way fast.
It's going that way fast because we're so tangled up in conversations that affect less than 1% of what's going on in America. We're not out in front of the issues because we're going back and forth at each other politically in D.C., and nobody's putting their foot down and taking a principled position on the issues and holding the left-right limits and accountability.
Jeremy Thompson's running for the 9th Congressional District in Tennessee. Again, with your background in law enforcement and the military combat experience, where do you stand on medical marijuana at the federal level?
I think medical marijuana, as long as it's regulated through medical practice and prescription, is probably a good thing. I think 10 years ago, this would have been a different discussion, but I think we've got at least anecdotal results in veterans, law enforcement officers, firefighters, other people that are in high-stress positions or have other medical ailments, cancer for one, to use medical marijuana as a medical outlet or a sense of comfort going through recovery. And we're in the Special Operations Association of America, we look at operator syndrome and PTSD as like the top 2 tiers for those kinds of applications. And we're even exploring Abigaine out of Texas. There's a doctor out there, and it seems that the legal framework in Texas is allowing exploratory use of Abigaine to get into the recovery and treatment of PTSD and operator syndrome. So what we're seeing is not a treatment, but an actual full-blown recovery, almost like a cure. And it's a series of things. It's hormone balancing and things like that. But I think those are things that we do have to explore, but as long as we can keep them medically regulated and we're not talking about laced items, laced drugs that can get people killed on a first-time experimental trial.
Right.
Then yeah, I think that's something that we should look at and explore.
You're a veteran yourself. You are the executive director of Special Operations Association of America. You have shaped federal legislation on veterans and readiness. What's the single biggest failure right now in how Washington treats special operations forces and veterans? And what specific fixes would you push in the House?
When something goes wrong around the world, we're at the tip of the spear on every continent. I can confidently tell you that we have special operators on the ground right now on every landmass on the planet, and they're working angles to shape U.S. national security. So I guess the single thing I would say is we find ourselves understaffed, under-equipped, and under-trained sometimes, just because there's a back and forth in Congress over the funding mechanism. So if we're failing anywhere, we're failing funding, specifically the special operations arena.
We're talking with Jeremy Thompson. He's running for the Tennessee's 9th District for Congress. I want to take some calls. There's some people on the line that want to ask you some questions, but I have one more question for you first. You have said that you want to hold institutions accountable.
Yes.
That's one of your big platforms. You got to get them back in check. Do you have concrete examples of an agency, a program, a spending priority that you would first target if elected?
I think the DOJ, federal law enforcement, and the upper intelligence apparatus have to remain apolitical in this country to effectively do their jobs. They have to take their oaths seriously, just like any elected official in this country. You have to love this country for its origin and what we've built and developed over time. When Barack Obama got elected in 2008 and took office in 2009, he said that he was going to fundamentally transform the United States of America. Under no circumstances did we need a fundamental transformation of this country.
He did it too.
He did it, and we're recovering from it today. We'll be recovering from it for the next 10 years. You may not like what I have to say about that, but it's the absolute truth. He launched a war on law enforcement that we're still recovering from. We have more men and women in uniform today dying and getting in these lethal force encounters with people who hate them because of the narrative that he created. And that's one of so many examples of what he did that was no good for this country.
615-737-9986. If you have a question for Jeremy, 615-737-9986. We turn to the vast staff. Let's go to David, who is in Jeremy's county. He has a question. What's up, David? How are you?
Hey, man. Jeremy, this is David Morgan, Lawrence County Executive. How you doing today?
Good, David. How are you?
Good, brother. Good. Hey, I got a question. You know, in Tennessee, state law is in county government, we have to balance our budget. There's no way around that. So last 4 years, we've had 4 balanced budgets added to the surplus. What are you going to do when you go to Washington to look at our national debt? And what are you going to do to curtail that debt? And what are some federal programs that should be reduced or reformed or even eliminated? I know Trump has eliminated some things, and DOJ got to work early on, and we haven't really seen a whole lot of fruit from that. So what are some ideas that you have on reforming, eliminating, or reducing some of those things that are causing our debt to skyrocket?
It's a good question. Thanks, Dave. $39 trillion in debt. DOJ did fall off. Yeah. Your thoughts?
Yeah, so these are my thoughts on that. I think it's important. One of the primary responsibilities of a United States congressman is to educate the general public on what's going on in terms of government processes. We established a law in 1974. It was called the Congressional Budget Act of 1974. That law was created because they saw the recklessness and irresponsibility of going year after year without producing a legitimate budget to the President of the United States. We have failed to produce a budget to the President of the United States since 1996, and we've gone into what we call kicking the can down the road, resolution after continued resolution after continued resolution. All this does is add to that already $1 trillion interest rate that we're already carrying, right? So we're $38 to $40 trillion in debt. Yep. We make somewhere between 5.5 annually, but we're spending between 6.5 and 7 trillion annually. We can't do that. David just said that he has to produce the state of Tennessee a budget at every county level out of all 95 counties. So what you have to do is have to start evaluating where cuts can be made. One of many things. This is anecdotal to the totality of the circumstances, but we're giving $40 million a week to the Taliban. I thought that was a month, and that was going to be egregious in itself.
It's insane.
But $40 million a week goes to the Taliban. That's just one of many examples. I mean, we're paying.
We're not just funding our allies. We're funding our enemies.
Absolutely. So we're paying through grant processes to watch lobsters and crawfish walk on a treadmill to see what their migration routes are going to be. I just don't understand why we're putting hundreds of millions of dollars into these projects that produce nothing.
To be fair, funding lobsters on a treadmill does sound better than funding the Taliban.
It does. Yeah. That's an improvement, I guess. But I think when the next congressman gets to D.C., you cannot be a coattail politician. You cannot be an establishment politician. You have to be a principled politician. You have to get to work on the issues that are facing this nation immediately and start seeing in every. He asked which institutions of government I would find cuts in or prioritize. I think you have to look at all of them, and some of them can probably be removed entirely. I mean, some of these institutions of government have been put in place since the 1940s, 50s, and 60s as new elements of government just to expand government. I think we need to dial government back. We need a lot less of it. Reagan did it. Many presidents have tried it. But they need a Congress and a Senate that will actually do it.
Would you get rid of the ATF if you could wave a magic wand?
Yeah, I think there's room to get rid of the ATF. I have friends that work with and for the ATF, but I think there's room to either delete it entirely or merge it into another effort.
Let's go to Anthony, who has a question for Jeremy Thompson, who's running for the 9th Congressional District in Tennessee. What's up, Anthony?
Morning, Chris. Morning, Jeremy. How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
Good. So, Jeremy, I just had a question kind of different from what other people have been asking, but it's probably just more like a personal one. I'm active military right now. I've thought about going to public office at some point in the future, so I just kind of wanted to pick your brain and see what your advice would be for someone who's kind of had the same desires you have had, and basically how to get to where you're at and maybe eventually get into public office.
Yeah, the first thing I'll tell you is, number one, you have to have a little bit of a no-fear attitude to be doing what you're doing. I don't know what your job skill is, but it doesn't matter. You're wearing the uniform of this country, and I love you for it, so thank you for that. I would just tell you to surround yourself with people that are going to support you when you do pull the trigger on that effort, because it's not easy. I was told early on that if I didn't have $2 or $3 million in my checking account, that I would be irrelevant and invalid for this position. And I think that's a really offensive and horrific way to run politics in this country. If you have a country-loving American like you that wants to stand up and put themselves out there in a very ugly and threatening environment to try to shape policy in a good direction for this country, I'd say stay in the fight, have no fear, and prepare yourself and your family for what you'll face when you put yourself out there.
Jeremy Thompson is running for the 9th Congressional District in Tennessee. You have an event on Sunday in Franklin. If people want to get to know you a little bit more, where is that event again?
It is at the Marriott Franklin Hotel from 4 to 6, and tickets are available at jeremythompson.com or Jeremy Thompson for Congress on Facebook.
Okay, is Facebook your only social media platform right now? Where else can we find out more about you?
Active. I've got activity in each of the platforms, but if you want the most active activity, it's on Facebook.
Jeremy Thompson for Tennessee on Facebook.
Yes.
All right, Jeremy, thank you so much for the time, man. I really do appreciate you.
Jeremy Thompson for Congress. Sorry.
Jeremy Thompson for Congress on Facebook. It's 10:55. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Thank you, Joan Jones. It is 10:59 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. So when we were talking about the flock cameras, I got a text from 1972. How many times do you have to be told the Supreme Court already ruled them constitutional? I'm assuming that he's leaning on the no right to privacy in public argument, but I think that you need to push back against the outdated talking points in support of flock cameras. SCOTUS never handed the government a blank check for Orwellian dragnet surveillance. Sorry. We'll talk about that on the way. We'll dive more into the flock cameras. You know who is actually anti-flock camera now? The Undertaker's brother came out against it yesterday, Glenn Jacob. We'll talk about that when we get back. It's 11 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Passed a Democrat-backed war powers resolution. It's aimed, of course, at limiting President Trump's military action in Iran. 4 Republicans joined all Democrats. The Senate is expected to take up the resolution today. Meantime, the Pentagon did carry out another night of airstrikes, and the Houthis appear to be ramping up their attacks too. ABC's Jacqueline Lee on the latest escalation.
And now signs the war may be expanding. Iranian-backed Houthis in Yemen claim to have targeted 2 Saudi ships off Saudi Arabia's coast, with a Houthi spokesperson confirming the strike, stating ships violated their ban on Saudi ships transiting in the Red Sea.
President Trump saying yesterday that Iran would be held responsible for attacks carried out by the Houthis. Meantime, news out of the Middle East that the Trump administration struck a deal with Saudi Arabia to partner with them on a civil nuclear energy program.
The deal is likely worth billions of dollars for American companies, and it also shuts out Russia and China. But it's also highly controversial because there are fears that it could ultimately pave the way to Saudi Arabia getting a nuclear weapon and then potentially an arms race in the Middle East. Most controversially, the deal potentially opens the door to allowing Saudi Arabia to enrich uranium on its territory.
That's ABC's Patrick Reevell. A magnitude 5.0 earthquake struck Texas this morning in the northwest part of the state near Amarillo. No damages reported. And in Putnam County, a traffic stop has ended with 4 adults being taken into custody and a 5-year-old girl caught in the middle of an impromptu drug bust. News 2's Andy Cordan has that story.
She's sitting amongst people who have serious drug felonies as well as possession of fentanyl and meth.
I live in Lebanon.
Which one's your daughter?
The
one that's not properly restrained. And the seatbelt. None of you guys wearing seatbelts?
Deputies suspect drug use in the car.
Check.
This canine confirms it. The car is searched and drugs are found.
Now, the little girl's mother was the driver of that car. She's also a suspect in a larger drug case involving the TBI. Now, that little girl is now staying with another family member. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
It's 11:05 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. I've just been texting with this guy he's so pro mass surveillance powered by AI. I don't know what to tell him. I'm so beside myself when it comes to the flock cameras. I understand why people think that they're a good idea currently. But when you game plan out the flock cameras, don't you understand where it will lead? My issue isn't with how the flock cameras are currently being used for the most part. I mean, there are cases where they're being abused, and they're being abused by police officers who are tracking their lovers and their wives and their friends and their enemies. I mean, there's cases, and we've talked about them on the air. They're very easily abused. But like overall, the way they're currently being used, tracking down bad guys, going after the people that abduct children, like, yes, I understand why you would think that these are a good idea. But when you game plan them out, and you look at what the infrastructure you're building could look like in 10, 15 years down the road, I don't understand why you wouldn't be against these things. I'm not taking a current day approach. I'm taking a zoom out approach and looking at the whole and saying, this is a bad idea for our future. This is a bad idea for the future of our kids, for the future of our grandkids, our great-grandkids, because once the mass surveillance apparatus is in place, there's never, ever going to be any going back. We have a very small window of opportunity to push back against the flock cameras currently. And you could even make the argument that the flock cameras window of opportunity to push back on them is already gone. You absolutely could. But I'm beginning to be more encouraged that we might find ourselves in a position where pushing back on it is the right move, and the opportunity is not closed just yet. And it started yesterday with the Undertaker's brother, based take from the brother of the Undertaker. It's a blessing that the Undertaker didn't kill him in that fire with his family. Too much wrestling, probably too much wrestling. Glenn Jacobs, the mayor of Knox County, posting on X yesterday. Can you put this on the screen for me? He said, I have serious concerns about the rollout of flock cameras in Knox County. I believe that they are a threat to our privacy and civil liberties. Commission is holding a special session prior to their regular meeting Monday to discuss this issue, and I will have more to say as well. It's about time that we have more elected officials speaking up against this. And while we have some guys running for governor that are pushing back against this, I haven't heard Marcia push back against this, but I'm encouraged that Glenn Jacob, who is very tight with Marcia, is now anti-flock. We need this. The security researcher by the name of Ben Jordan, he revealed that flock cameras are secretly creating a GPS tracker for every single car in America. And it's already live. Flock license plate readers take a timestamp photo of every vehicle that passes every camera, and police can search your historical travel information for 30 days. It creates a database of everyone, not just the suspects of the crime. It's like if you were to build a graph of that sheet and plot it to a map. Now it's as if you had a GPS on your car for the entire month. Listen to this. This is again, security researcher Ben Jordan.
Flock license plate readers take a time-stamped photo of every vehicle that passes every camera. Police can search your historical travel information for 30 days.
This creates a searchable database of everyone, not just the suspects of crime.
Security researcher Ben Jordan.
And it's like if you were to build a graph of that sheet, and plot it to a map, now it's as if you've had a GPS on your car for an entire month. By your own publications, 700,000 crimes a year are solved with Flock?
Flock Safety Chief Communications Officer Josh Thomas.
Reported crimes in America, yeah. So there's a lot more that probably are being helped that aren't being reported. But yes, we have about 700,000 crimes that we are aware of that are being solved in part with evidence that's derived from a Flock Safety device.
In order for that historical data to be of investigative value, you have to track every car
for 30 days.
Again, I would challenge you on the word track. Tracking the whole of your movements is very different than knowing that you passed by one specific camera, 24 specific cameras. Those are different things.
And then the examples of tracking that vehicle from location to location to location.
But Flock's own webinars talk about its license plate reader's ability to track vehicles and people.
So the Flock spokes guy says one thing in public, but in private, they're like, no, we're tracking everything. We're tracking everyone. And here's the thing. It's not even just your car. Just so you know, it's not just your car. It's not just your license plate. Flock cameras are tracking your smartphones as you walk by them. So in my neighborhood, we had one installed. There was a shot spotter, right? But essentially, every time I walk by with my dog, if I had my cell phone, it knows that I'm walking my dog because it is tracking your Bluetooth signals. And there was a guy on X by the name of Casey Allen who and Orwell Day, they posted this video where he's literally showing you that the Flock camera that he's near is pinging his Bluetooth.
So we are getting this Flock camera. It's emitting this Connect 36295 Bluetooth signal. It will randomly emit that. You can see it right there. We observed it 32 seconds ago. I can start this back up and you'll see we'll observe it consistently. This specific unit is obviously set off by human motion. Whether that's taking a picture of me is questionable, but the IR element definitely is set off from human motion. As you can see, no cars are coming. There's that Connect signal. It's a Bluetooth signal. You can see at the top there. It's coming from the back of this battery pack. I believe it's coming from that white battery module emitting a Bluetooth signal. This looks to be a standard Falcon ALPR unit, so it's not going to be the AI video powered condo unit. The easiest way to tell is the camera. The IR unit is more towards the top of the camera as opposed to the Condor where they're on the middle. You'll be able to see this triggered by the cars. It's taking 6 to 8 images of each vehicle as it goes by, make, model, color, decals, damage, and then it's uploading that basically via LTE to Flock OS where it becomes searchable, indexable, and they can refer to it later. So very extensive system. Again, we're picking up that Connect 36295 signal coming from the what I believe is the BLE battery pack, or the battery pack on the back of here giving off a BLE.
These stories are insane. Some towns are waking up to this and they're trying to get rid of them. And this is a crazy story. There was a town in Wisconsin, Verona, Wisconsin, where they had a contract with Flock. Then they decided, because of a vote, that they were going to remove them. But now Flock is not removing the cameras. So once they're in the city, Flock is like, nah, it's fine. You're fine. We're not gonna take them down. This is the story from 404 Media. For weeks, Verona, Wisconsin tried to get Flock to remove 3 automated license plate cameras that its city council had voted to stop using. Flock told city employees not to remove the cameras, and a Flock employee told city officials that they were unsure whether the cameras could be remotely disabled, which led to the town having to put black plastic trash bags over them until Flock eventually removed the cameras itself, according to emails obtained by a public records request. Flock is not your friend. It's just not. Now, people will say, you're in public, you have no right to privacy. That is an oversimplification of the issue and the risk enabling this unconstitutional dragnet surveillance. Like, it just is. 100%. This was never a blanket argument for the mass surveillance when a case like United States versus Knotts back in 1983 was decided. It's just not. This was never envisioned. Yet here we are. This is what people lean on. You're in public. You have no right to privacy. Yeah, but the government doesn't have right to every intimate detail about my life. So we need to push back on these. People are pushing back on these, and I think that that's a good thing. But as the backlash starts to really pick up some momentum and pick up some speed, I think it's important that we all understand that Flock is a name brand. Flock is not the only one doing this. There's about 4 or 5 other companies that are doing this. So when we get legislatures and we get individuals on city commissions or city councils to vote against these things, we can't just have it be against the name brand. Because as Flock gets more backlash, they're going to treat it like an illegal alien trucking company, right? Where the illegal alien trucking company, their illegal alien trucker gets into a crash, and so they change from A1 trucking to B2 trucking overnight at the same address. We can't have that. It needs to be comprehensive about what this kind of stuff does, because you're already seeing companies like Axon rolling out their replacements. This one is called Lightpost, and it is an AI-powered license plate reader and live streaming surveillance camera built into the existing streetlights in communities. And people are celebrating this like it is a huge win. It is an absolute big success, this new invention of Lightpost. This was a tech conference, and their CEO was talking about it.
Thanks, Rick. So at Ubiquity, our mission is simple: to make the world smarter, safer, and more connected. We actually do that by leveraging the existing infrastructure that's already in the ground. That's 60 million streetlights in the US and actually 450 million worldwide. And we make them intelligent. We built a reputation with more than 900 cities and utilities for turning ordinary streetlights into extraordinary tools for public safety.
It's always disguised by safety. It's always pushed as safety. Safety, safety, safety. But what this kind of stuff can learn from you is, it makes me feel less safe, to be honest.
Our UB Hub platform is easy to install, simple to relocate, and built to scale, allowing police departments to deploy and expand their video and LPR capabilities quickly. And today, we're excited to announce our collaboration with Axon Lightpost, creating together a powerful streetlight-based platform for video surveillance and LPR, all integrating seamlessly with Axon Fusus. We believe this will be a game changer, giving law enforcement more eyes and real-time intelligence where they need it and when they need it. Here's a brief video to show you how we do it.
So behind him, there's a big screen. It says, barely noticeable from street level. Again, I don't necessarily think there's an issue with current day policing having this tool, but I very much worry about the infrastructure that we're building out. We just lived through an administration where parents were declared domestic terrorists, where individuals who protested at abortion clinics were treated like terrorists, where individuals who protested a stolen election, went inside a Capitol building and prayed, were treated like terrorists, where if you protested the COVID lockdowns, you were treated like a terrorist. And we're not immune from an administration like that again. Why on earth would we want to build this infrastructure for them? Can anybody give me a reason why? They'll tell me, well, Chris, you'd want to use those cameras if your child was kidnapped. Probably. But I also don't want to sentence my children to a dystopian world where they're going to be surveilled 100% certainly, right? Like with 100% certainty. There's not a 100% chance that my kids will be kidnapped, and I will need those cameras. But if we let this infrastructure get built out, there is a 100% chance that my children will not be able to go anywhere without the surveillance state knowing everything about where they're going and why. It's spooky to me, and I'm not a fan of this at all. So they're creating new companies. Axon is putting them lampposts, so they're going to be on all the street lights once Flock gets shut down because the brand has become too toxic. But they're already hiding Flock ALPRs, their cameras in speed signs. So this is the trailers that you'll see on the side of the road that display your speed when you drive by. And if you're like me, you always try and get the high score. But we see those all over the place. Oh, you're going too fast. Okay, fair. It blinks at you. But now they're hiding the flock cameras in those.
Yeah, you might think it's just an innocent little speed reader, right? Oh, look at this. Volusia Sheriff's own this one.
This is in Florida.
It's my speed. I might even be able to get 5 miles an hour out of it from running. But what lurks on the back of it? Not there, but right there. Look at that. Someone did some custom metal fabricating and decided to put a flock camera, a mobile one, anywhere they want to put it in the speed reader.
These things are expanding, and they're expanding fast. Let's go to John real quick on flock cameras. What's up, John?
I got a challenge for you.
Yeah.
Name me one time the government told you something that turned out to be the truth. One time. I'm looking for one thing.
Man, this is. I don't know if we have enough time. I could try and Google it, John.
We're still paying taxes that were to be temporary. I don't know, 100 years ago.
Yep.
You would have to be a nut to be for all of this stupid facial recognition stuff, eye scanning crap. Man, we can't go to the bathroom without somebody watching us nowadays. How could anybody be for this garbage?
My safety needs to be my responsibility. My family's safety needs to be my responsibility. I don't need the eye in the sky.
Absolutely. You have to give up your personal rights in order for someone else to protect you. And I'll do that for myself. Thank you.
Yep, I'm with you 100%. But
brother,
there are people.
You're on the right track, and keep on keeping on.
But John, what do you think of the guys that'll tell me that you're in public and you have no right to privacy?
I can't get my head around it. I do not understand. You know, maybe they were part of the 81 million that voted for Biden.
Maybe.
I don't know. I can't get it. If I could explain it, I would.
I feel like this is one of the things that we should be able to agree on the Democrat side and the Republican side. The Democrats don't want it because of ICE, all right? And I'll just say, I'll bend the knee. Perfect. Yeah, let's get rid of them. We can't let ICE have them because I don't think that we could have this with a Democrat administration down the road.
There used to be issues that anybody in this country would get on board with. I don't know. Let's say, what about a fair election? What? Tell me why we can't get on board with that across the board.
But people will tell me, I got a text here. It says, yet you walk into stores that have cameras everywhere. There's a difference between.
Hey, I'll tell you what. Call that guy and see if we can put one in his bathroom. Hey, here's one. We'll watch his wife shower. How about that?
Isn't there a difference though between a private business and the federal government?
Apparently, to these people, there should be no lines drawn. I can't. Hey, if I could explain it to you, brother, I swear I would.
Yeah, I'm with you, John. I appreciate you calling in, my man.
Thank you, buddy.
It's 11:23. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friends at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. I can't believe that you have gone through this much of your summer living in pain. You can get back to a pain-free life and enjoy the rest of your summer with the Wellness Institute of Nashville today. I'm going to put my seal of approval on this. Their brand new Medical Bay 1. Dr. Mitchell designed it himself. It's like climbing into a healing spaceship. Full body lasers, red light, near infrared, stem cell stimulation, and photon healing that's going to wake up your cells the way God intended them, and they're going to respond with some healing magic. You get massaged while it regenerates tissues. It is futuristic, and it works. They also lead the game in non-surgical spinal decompression. You're going to get real relief from the Wellness Institute of Nashville without surgery, without shots, and without pills. Right now, you can grab the Epic Spinal Special, which is $33 off each and every visit. Head over to painisbad.com right now. That's painisbad.com, or call 615-246-5009. 615-246-5009. Painisbad.com.
All right, drivers in Madison, we've got a crash in the way. It's going to be Gallatin Pike south of Neely's Bend Road. And as Middle Tennessee continues to dry out and assess storm damage, you got to hear what's going on in one of our neighboring states. U.S. House today voting to direct President Trump to end hostilities against Iran. We'll tell you about that at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Looking forward to that. Ken Weaver in the newsroom. Headlines on the way in less than a minute. We're going to put a bow on the flock camera conversation. I got a text from Brian that's perfect. He said, apparently nobody is paying attention to the mass surveillance in the UK. The UK is a prime example to authoritarian governments monitoring every movement of every citizen. If you say anything the government doesn't like on social media, they can track your movement and arrest you. At some point, they will have a social credit system regulating where you go, what you can do, and what you can buy. It boggles the mind how free Americans are begging for government shackles. All of this. I had another person ask me, are you against all license plate readers? Sarah texted it in. So you're saying you oppose any LPR? And I said, yes. Too hardcore. It's 11:30. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
11:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast in 5 minutes. And as Middle Tennessee continues to dry out and assess storm damage, get a load of what's going on in neighboring North Carolina. Leslie Lopez is there.
The expectation is almost the entire state of North Carolina under a flood watch for good reason. Heavy amounts of rain will continue for days. This is going to continue at least through Friday before there's a substantial break, and then more rain on the way as we're looking towards Saturday.
Well, in our nation's capital, the U.S. House has voted to direct President Trump to end U.S. military hostilities against Iran without congressional approval. 4 Republicans joining Democrats. The Senate expected to take up a similar measure later today. ABC's Karen Travers at the White House says the Trump administration is still claiming the Iranians eager to reach another ceasefire deal.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio has been traveling this week, and he's also been commenting on this. And he said that Iran is begging the United States indirectly and directly to get back to talks. But he also indicated that the fractions within the Iranian leadership are making it difficult to move forward with negotiations right now. That when they get to a point where they think they can have talks or have some next stage, the Iranians change their mind or change the parameters.
Global oil has now gone back up to $100 per barrel there as maritime traffic is all but stalled in the Strait of Hormuz and in the alternate route in the Red Sea. The House yesterday passing a bill aimed at preventing members of Congress from trading stocks in corporations. ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy with more.
The bill that's passed the House would essentially impose fines payable to the respective House of Congress for members who buy corporate stocks. The bill would cover their spouses and dependent children, too. This is a popular idea in Congress, but only 13 House Democrats voted for the measure because GOP leaders also included voter ID provisions in the bill. It now moves to the Senate, where Democrats could block it unless those voter ID provisions are taken out.
That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
It's 11:36 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. You can listen to the show anywhere. iHeartRadio, tune in, the FM dial. You can listen or watch on YouTube and Rumble, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, all the things. Hit like, hit subscribe. We appreciate you doing so. Sometimes, so we record a podcast every Thursday. Myself, Dan Mandis, and Matt Murphy. Sometimes I don't know what we're going to talk about. Other times, I have an inclination on what we're going to talk about. Today, I know what we're going to talk about because I think, I don't know, he's listening. I know he's listening, so I don't want to say his name too many times because then you get a call in. And I don't know if I'm really ready for that just yet. But Matt Murphy keeps texting me about the flock cameras.
Is he pro?
I think, I don't want to put words in his mouth. I think he was pro license plate readers a while back. A lot of people were, especially in the Nashville area. But I think that license plate readers, that was a different conversation than AI-powered flock cameras. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Like, it seemed like much more of a simplistic thing. So I don't really know where he stands on flock cameras today. I do know that our conversation on text has devolved into ban license plates.
From you or from him?
Both of us.
Oh, so you both agree on banning license plates?
Different reasons.
Do you remember the libertarian national debate from a couple years ago where they were talking about having like a license for your own toaster, like to toast your own toaster?
Well, I think that makes sense.
Is this like similar to this?
I think so. You're restricting my right to free movement, sir. I'm a sovereign citizen.
So no license plates?
I think it's stupid.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't have a license plate on my car for like a year. Maybe I shouldn't say allegedly.
You're learning very, very quickly. We don't. A lot of times when we're going to admit to crimes on the air, Gabe, we'll say a listener texted me and they said that they did this. Anytime I'm admitting to crimes I've committed on the air, I always lean in and pretend it was a listener that told me.
Well, because it was a listener. I was just reading something. So I was reading it like as if it was me, but, I was actually just reading one of the texts on the
Exactly. I do that all the time when I accidentally admit to committing crimes on the air.
Like you commit crimes all the time, or you just like admit to them all the time?
A little bit of both.
Or you lie about not committing them?
I lie about not committing them.
Okay. But you don't commit them, actually. You're lying right now about lying about committing them because you've never committed a crime in your life.
People don't think it be like it is, but it do. Let's jump into the lightning round. Oh, he's slow. He's slow to it. Yesterday, you were so eager to get to the lightning round music, and then today, you're having trouble finding it.
It's the lightning round with Chris Hand.
You hit the music like 4 times yesterday. I even hinted like it was gonna be time for the lightning round.
Well, so here's the thing.
And you were ready for the music. But today, Gabe is so late that I had to stall, and now I'm gonna sing about it. Yeah, let's go.
I had to I've been reorganizing the soundboard, and then I had everything off, and I had it in previews, so it didn't play over the radio or anything.
You're doing great. Just crushing it. Listen, this isn't a serious job. Gabe's other job, he gets bombs thrown at him by Muslims. So this is nothing. This is nothing compared to what you've dealt with. We'll throw you under the bus here, but we won't throw bombs. Thanks for your attention to this matter, Gabe. Appreciate it.
Of course. Always here.
All right. This story I love. First story in the lightning round. I don't know why. This is like the stuff I'm drawn to on the internet, and like you can't look away. So this happened in northern India. A freaking leopard, broke into a liquor store and decided to fight some employees. You ever see the meme online where it's like, well, who you got? 1,000 men or 10 gorillas? You like that? This one was like 3 Indian liquor store employees and a leopard.
You serious?
I'm very serious. This is how CBS put it. And I will listen. I don't like CBS. You don't like CBS because when we CBS, it's on CBS. But I will give them credit where credit's due. Sometimes they deserve some flowers. If you're not watching on Super Talk TV, you're missing the little chyron that they have explaining what the story is. And it says, Leaping Leopard. Leaping Leopard. And I thought, all right, I'll give you some credit for that. Dramatic video footage shows a leopard with a drinking problem bursting into a liquor store in India and attacking an employee as he desperately tries to flee before the wild animal begins sniffing around the empty shop, knocking bottles off the shelf.
You have enough things to worry about, so tonight take comfort. This is not one of them. A leopard somehow got into a liquor store in India and attacked the shopkeeper, sending bottles flying. The guy was hurt, but had the wherewithal nonetheless to pull down the shutter as he left, allowing a team from a nearby zoo to take the animal back to the wild.
Go ahead and put India on the list of places I don't want to visit. I didn't know that random leopard attacks were a thing, but apparently they are. The shopkeeper, who reportedly sustained injuries to his hand, shoulder, and nose from the attack, he jumped out, and they had the blinds, like the metal curtain thing on the front of the shop, and he just whipped that thing closed, which was smooth operator to do that in a time of duress. But I mean, that leopard jumped all over him. He said, I somehow pushed the leopard away and ran towards the exit. As I ran, I pulled the shutter down. Then I lost consciousness. Video surveillance from outside the store also shows the leopard leaping at another man, a 40-year-old, before barging into the booze shop, the Sun reported. Then the same leopard, which wandered into the northern Indian town just before 9 a.m., accosted a third man. But the extent of the other two men's injuries were not made clear. All three men injured in the attacks. It sparked a 5-hour search for the leopard. And then wildlife specialists eventually tracked down the leopard, tranquilized it at about 2 o'clock. And then the big cat, which was reportedly a 5-year-old male, is going to be returned to the wild. Bananas. Absolute bananas. So, I thought the craziest wildlife story I was going to hear yesterday was my son's. My wife randomly burst into the house. My boys burst into the house with my wife there, and they said, we caught a hummingbird. My wife was like, what? They're like, yeah, we caught a hummingbird. This is my 7-year-old and my 8-year-old. We caught a hummingbird, Mom. And my wife was like, no, you didn't. They're like, no, we did. And they had a hummingbird in a cage. And this is one of the things I've told my kids since they were young, because I think it's funny. When we're at a playground or something, I'm like, if you can catch the birds, they're free. That's what I do. I say that. And because you can't catch them. I don't know if you know that. It's very hard to catch a bird. So I would say that from time to time. And yesterday, they were very disappointed to find out that was just a meme that Dad's been pushing. And it's not reality because they caught a hummingbird. So my wife said, how did you catch that hummingbird? And they said it flew into the garage. So this is my older son, Brooks, who's 8, said, so me and Bishop, we grabbed the ladder, the 9-foot tall ladder that I have in the garage. We opened the ladder, and this all happened without parental supervision, mind you. So, these kids. So then they climbed the ladder, this 9-foot tall ladder, and grabbed the bird out of midair from the ladder. This is how they explained it. Then they put the bird into a cage. Then they called me. And they said, Dad, we caught a hummingbird. I said, what? They sent pictures for proof. And I said, guys, appreciate the hummingbird, okay? Enjoy the hummingbird for a moment. And then you're going to have to release that hummingbird, okay? You're going to have to. So then they're in the driveway, and they decide to release this hummingbird. And Brooks threw it up in the air like, you're free now. And it turned around and landed directly on my 3-year-old, Millie Jane. This is what it sounded like. She didn't think it was as funny as we did. But I thought that was going to be the craziest nature story of my day until I found out that there was a leopard attacking people at a liquor store in India. All right, got another story for you here in the lightning round. Thank you. Thank you. This one comes from North Carolina. Come on and raise up. This one's for you. This one's for who? Us, us, us. It's a Petey Pablo reference in case you don't get it. It's a pretty sick song. You should look it up. This happened at a Crumble Cookie. Crumble Cookie employee was caught styling another employee's hair in the kitchen. They were getting their hair did in the kitchen at a Crumble Cookie in North Carolina. So I felt like you should say that you shouldn't be doing the dreads and the braids at work. And then I remembered that for quite some time I advocated for Mason to get half of his fro put in cornrows while here at work, so I felt like that would be hypocritical. But I did want to bring this video to you. And it said, the caption said, when you walk up to Crumble Cookies and the saxophones start getting louder, and it had a skull and a pukey emoji. And it shows 3 women in the back, and they're getting their braids did. They're doing their hair. I don't think this is all Crumble Cookies, but this is all Crumble Cookies in North Carolina, apparently. Yuck. Yuck. Who needs to be told that you shan't be doing hair in the kitchen?
The African-American women who work at this Crumble Cookie, apparently.
Oh, yeah, that's a good observation. I didn't know they were black.
They are very clearly black.
I had no idea. I don't see color.
See, my dad's black, so I see color.
That's an interesting phenomenon. I was raised colorblind.
I mean, it's funny because all white people need to be colorblind, but then everybody else is allowed to point out race.
It's true. People don't think it'd be like it is, but it do. All right, got another story for you here in the lightning round. I mean, this one. Speaking of, what do you say?
I said delayed gratification.
Yeah. All right. I was going to do the ESPN layoffs and say that everybody's going to call Tim Tebow racist because they laid off a bunch of race baiters at ESPN, and then they gave Tim Tebow a new contract. People are in an uproar about that.
We love Tim Tebow. He's Christian, right?
Yeah, very Christian. He's a beast. He fights against human trafficking. He's an awesome guy. He does a lot of great things. And one of his best quotes that I've heard is that he doesn't want to get to heaven well rested. He said that would be like a slap in the face to God. He wants to get to heaven exhausted. And
that's a badass quote.
Isn't that a badass quote? It makes me like him even more. Also, Pat McAfee says, just because I'm getting paid $65 million on my ESPN contract isn't the reason why people got laid off. Which it sounds a lot like somebody with a $65 million contract would say. I think that maybe they're reworking ESPN to be less woke, and I think that that's a good thing. McAfee, Tebow, big wins. Keep them around. All right, got one more story for you here in the lightning round. We briefly mentioned this a few weeks back, that the Xbox CEO, her name is Asha Sharma. Asha Sharma. She fired a lot of people, a lot of Americans from Xbox in layoffs, okay? And then it was revealed that she also hired a lot of H-1B visa holders to work at Xbox. Correlation doesn't equal causation, but everybody's eyebrows went up, And then if you look into it, people are like, whoa, chill, dude. That's Microsoft as a whole. That's not just Xbox. Not just Xbox. I'm of the firm opinion that we don't need any H-1B visas in this country. Like, with what we're doing with AI, we shouldn't be giving any American jobs away, period. When all of these jobs are going to be eliminated, the fact that we're still letting people be imported into this country to undercut American wages, I think is a travesty, and I think that people should be punished for it. Well, it looks like Fed Chair Kevin Warsh is now receiving calls to fire the Xbox CEO, Asha Sharma, from the Fed's task force After it was exposed that she was hiring H-1B workers to replace Americans, she laid off thousands of Americans and then hired foreigners. Rep. Riley Moore is saying that she needs to be removed from that task force.
They are H-1B visa approved, and then they get fired from Microsoft. Congressman, you sent a letter to Federal Reserve Chairman Kevin Warsh after the CEO of Xbox was appointed to the Fed's Productivity and Jobs Task Force. Have you heard back?
I've not heard back. You know, it's a little breaking news. I just sent this late afternoon yesterday before we headed to the floor, and I want her removed. I mean, so she's the head of productivity and jobs on this task force. I mean, I guess what's the strategy? Fire your workforce and apply for H-1B visas.
Yes. She is the head of strategy and jobs. The woman that just fired a bunch of Americans and hired cheaper H-1B visa holders. That's a strategy. That's a strategy for jobs.
I think the H-1B visa program needs to be done away with. I think it's a scam. Yep. I think it's replacing our people here in the United States. We are a country. We're not an international free trade zone where everybody can come in and compete for our jobs. The American worker is the only worker in the world that has to compete with workers from all over the world inside their own borders. We have millions of people graduating college and technical school and trade school every year who are being outbid in terms of wages, not outworked. And I don't think that that's right. I think we need to get rid of the H-1B visa program.
Yeah. Thank you. That's Rep. Riley Moore from the base state of West Virginia. He represents the 2nd District in West Virginia, and I'm quickly becoming a fan.
I was going to ask who this guy was because he looks exactly like that Jeremy gentleman who is.
Oh, that was just in here. So Jeremy Thompson was in here. He's running for the 9th District in Tennessee. This is Rep. Riley Moore, 2nd District in Congress for West Virginia.
I wonder if they know that they're doppelgangers.
They definitely are doppelgangers. Another reason why you should be watching on YouTube and on Rumble. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. That does it for the lightning round. It's 11:54 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friend Aaron Parker over at Parker Safes and Vaults in Shelbyville. Take a second and picture your valuables. You know, the things that you hold near and dear to your heart, the things you would hate to lose. Maybe it's the firearms. Maybe it's some jewelry. Maybe some old coins, some precious metals. Maybe it's other stuff, guitar collection, photo albums, family heirlooms. Whatever those things are, you know what they are, and you know that they're irreplaceable to you and to your family. But imagine if you lost them in a fire or a burglary, God forbid. It's not going to feel good. And many people have experienced that fire or that theft, and they're left feeling violated. They're left feeling disheartened. They know they're not going to get those items back. But what if I told you there's a way to remedy that? What if you can make one call today and never have to worry about that nightmare scenario? That call is to Parker Safes and Vaults, and they've been helping people protect what they treasure for close to 20 years. You make that call to Parker's, they'll help you choose the right safe for your needs and your budget. They'll deliver it, and they'll install it themselves. Veteran-owned, family-run, Christian business, helping people just like you with their security and protection needs since 2009. Liberty, American Security, Rhino, Heyman, Graf Under, all those safes and more under one roof with hundreds of 5-star reviews. These are the people to call in Middle Tennessee. Parker Safes and Vaults, 931-842-6445. 931-842-6445. Online at parkersafes.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy with Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and this morning we are out and about at my house, my brand new house that I've been talking about on the radio, with Nate from USS. What's up, brother? How are you?
I'm excellent. How about you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
We invited Nate out. Now, obviously, when you're a new homeowner, especially when you buy a house that's got a few years on it, you don't know what you're dealing with in terms of foundation. And I know that Nate knows a lot more about what I don't see and what I don't know about than I do. So bring the experts out and get them to check out your house. Hey guys, Matt Murphy again with Nate with USS, and Nate has just wrapped up kind of a look at the house. And Nate, what'd you find?
Well, your house is in pretty good shape for the age of it. I had to look pretty hard to find it.
Okay.
Your house being on a slope like it is here, I think we could do a lot of good by trying to terminate your downspouts a little further from the house there.
Okay.
Roof water is the killer of foundations, and so if we can just get it to a positive grade to drain away from your house, I think that's real cheap insurance.
You want to kind of get it out and downhill.
That's right. Yeah.
That's
So
the idea.
make sure that it doesn't come right back down towards the foundation walls, causing issues, settlement, or leakage.
Now, if folks are watching this video and they are like, we need to get Nate out to the house to do a look. I mean, it took, I watched you do it. It's, what, 30, 45 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
To do a comprehensive kind of an examination around the house. And they just give you a call and schedule?
Yeah, absolutely. You can call our main phone number, or you can call reach USSTN.com and schedule right through the website there. Our girls in the call center will get back to you just about immediately, as long as it's during business hours. So
this just makes a lot of sense, folks, for you guys to do an examination of your house like we've done, to check it out. I'm going to get those gutters done with Nate and his team at USS, and then we'll do a video and let you know how those look at the end of all of this. So thank you, guys.
Hey, that'd be great.
We appreciate you, brother.
Matt,
All
we
right.
appreciate you.
It's 11:59 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Mason Fleming producing. Not for long though. He's got replacements waiting in the wings.
They're all coming for my job.
He's going to be stepping into the full-time position of director of algorithm tickling very, very soon. Ken Weaver's in the newsroom. Chad Benson in the studio. What's up, Chad?
What's up?
What are you talking about today?
Talk a bit about the governor's race. Talk a little bit about the affordability here. How many, when you look at affordability, are we hurting? Are we not hurting? How many zip codes are struggling? We'll talk a little bit about that. Plus, what does $1,500 get you for an apartment here in Nashville and the surrounding areas? Not a lot.
Depends on how you define surrounding areas.
Well, yeah, you can surround yourself far away. You're going to be doing all right. But in an area where you like to be able to get to Nashville or in Davidson County somewhere to work, you might have to go further.
Chad's in next at 12 o'clock. Super Talk 99.